Hey guys, this is Jan Balacano of MobileTechPanay.com, and you might have heard that DITO recently expanded their coverage, giving us another option to think about outside the duopoly that is Smart and Globe. Now, they haven't made any outrageous claims when it comes to speed, and as far as promos go, the 10GB and 25GB offers for 99 pesos and 199 pesos respectively should be pretty good for most people. But as good as DITO's promos might be, I'm sure it's the service reliability that will matter to you guys, especially the speed and reliability of their data services before you'd even think about picking up one of their SIMs, even if just as a backup. So I decided to test just how reliable. Nothing overly scientific, mind you. I just had an errand that would take me to different ends of the metro from Marikina to Malabon. So I decided to take a few detours with a few speed tests every so often. How many detours? My little experiment took me to 9 of the 17 cities in the NCR that DITO now covers. Now, before I continue, I like to make gadget reviews and other tech lifestyle videos, so feel free to like this video or subscribe if that's something you're interested in. Maybe you've seen my stuff before. Since we keep running into each other, why not make it a commitment? And while you're at it, leave a comment down below which provider you're currently on and if you're satisfied with their coverage. I'd love to hear from you guys. Alright, back to the video. So my journey kicked off in Marikina, where I managed to do 4 speed tests from 4:19 p.m. to 5:11 p.m. 3 of them were in the Concepcion Uno area, while the last one was taken in Caloocan near EDSA Marikina. I got anywhere from 13.63 to 67.8 Mbps downloads with an average of 33.56 Mbps. As for uploads, results ranged from 10.44 to 43.05 Mbps with an average of 27.16 Mbps. All in all, not bad if you live in Marikina, though keep note I only tested in 2 barangays. As I entered C5, I decided to take a detour into Eastwood, where I was able to take 4 speed tests from 5:22 p.m. to 5:36 p.m. Quite frankly, the results were abysmal, averaging 3.26 Mbps for downloads and 5.06 Mbps for uploads. In fact, if I hadn't decided to make a pit stop at the Starbucks along C5, where I got an 11.5 Mbps download speed result and 6.71 Mbps uploads, I wouldn't have been able to get the average for this general area up to 4.91 Mbps downloads and 5.39 Mbps for upload. So if you live in the Eastwood area, DITO is pretty So my next excursion took me to Pasig City, where I made several stops along Tiendesitas, Ortigas Center, and Barangay Ugong. I was able to take 2 measurements for each stop from 6:04 p.m. to 6:12 p.m. Tiendesitas was pretty sucky with an average download speed of 3.25 Mbps and average upload speed of 14.85 Mbps. With an Ortigas Center, I got average downloads of 3.3 Mbps and uploads of 7.32 Mbps. Finally, while passing through Barangay Ugong, I got an average of 11.34 Mbps downloads and 6.8 Mbps uploads. Overall, the Pasig area scored an average of 5.96 Mbps when it came to downloads, while it got 9.66 Mbps for uploads. Not ideal, but do take note that Pasig is huge and I only tested in 3 different districts or neighborhoods. Exiting C5, I entered BGC, basically traveling along the stretch of 32nd Street to Kalayaan Avenue. Along the stretch of road, I was able to take 4 speed tests from 6:18 p.m. to 6:23 p.m., averaging 9.67 Mbps downloads and 12.8 Mbps uploads. There was really a huge variance in the results though, ranging from 0.25 Mbps to 32.08 Mbps when it came to downloads, while uploads ranged from 1.35 Mbps to 41.42 Mbps. In fact, if it weren't for one outlier that had great results, the average would have been 6.61 Mbps download and 9.78 upload speeds. On the way to the Mall of Asia, I traveled along EDSA and passing by Makati. I honestly thought about taking another detour, but I was on an actual errand and didn't want to end up being late. So I only took 2 measurements from 6:27 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., one being at Buendia and the other around Magallanes. I averaged 5.23 Mbps for downloads and 6.45 Mbps for uploads. There wasn't much variance when it came to download results, but the uploads resulted in 1.53 Mbps and an 11.37 Mbps result. It's important to note that these shouldn't be entirely representative of DITO speeds in Makati, since these are basically along EDSA. Now, when I reached the Mall of Asia, let me tell you, it was even worse than Eastwood, because I tried to test within the mall area, yet I couldn't get a single speed test to complete, not a single one. It must have been because it was the peakiest of peak hours, but honestly, you'd expect at least some coverage. It wasn't until I ventured a little further away from the mall and closer to the business offices of 5Ecom did I finally get some results. So from 6:42 p.m. to 6:53 p.m., as I made my way to Seaside Boulevard, I was able to average 12.24 Mbps downloads and 2.43 Mbps uploads. So at this point, I was done with my detour and started making my way to my eventual destination. I passed through Malate, Paco, Ermita, Quiapo, Sampaloc, and Santa Cruz from 7:02 p.m. to 7:25 p.m., taking 10 measurements along the way. If you're a Manila resident, you might be happy to pick up a DITO SIM because the results were almost consistently good, averaging 27.77 Mbps downloads and 27.57 Mbps uploads. And this was while I was traveling mostly along the underside of the LRT-1 tracks. My journey was now coming to an end. On my way to Malabon, I traveled through Grace Park West and Monumento, taking a total of 4 speed tests along the way. From 7:26 p.m. to 7:34 p.m., I averaged 28.64 Mbps downloads and 26.23 Mbps uploads. Again, not bad. Finally, I arrived at my destination in Malabon at 7:39 p.m. My last speed test for the day got me a 14.65 download and 8.39 upload speed result. At this point, I'm really tired, but I was curious to see how DITO fared overall, and I hope you are too. So after passing through 22 different barangays in 9 different cities, all in one day I might add, DITO did poorly I feel in Quezon City, Pasig, Taguig, Makati, and Pasay, where download speeds range from 4.91 Mbps to 12.24, and uploads range from 2.43 Mbps to 12.8. The MOA area in Pasay was especially bad, where I had so many test attempts fail that I feel that the average would be much lower if I counted those failed tests as zeros. DITO did a great job, however, in the more residential areas that I passed through in Marikina, Manila, Caloocan, and Malabon. Downloads averaged from 14.65 Mbps to 33.56 Mbps, while uploads ranged from 8.39 Mbps to 27.57. All in all, after 41 different speed tests throughout the day, DITO averaged 17.36 for downloads and 16.07 Mbps for uploads. Worse than I expected, although I do have to realize that the measurements were taken from 4:19 p.m. to 7:39 p.m., which is basically peak hours, so I don't expect that these would be the speeds for the entire day. Also, this test was done last May 23, while it seems their priority is to expand to more locations, with their last expansion adding another 17 new areas. I have absolutely no idea if they've improved coverage in the places that I've tested. I do hope that you guys find value from this and that it might help you somehow in choosing whether or not to get yourself a DITO SIM, even as a backup. If you appreciate the effort, do leave a like. You can also comment down below if there are other areas you'd like me to test, and maybe I could do a part 2 to this video. Now, if you feel like subscribing, that's up to you. Do subscribe if you want more from me, because believe me, I'd love to give you more of me in these videos.